Hi, I'm Rebecca Sanchez, and I'm with the Salt Lake County Office of Diversity Affairs. And you are a part of this class, and thank you all of you for being willing to participate. It's called Diversity, it's about all of us. So I think a lot of times people hear the word diversity and think, oh, I know, it's about those people. When in actuality, if you define the word, diversity is what makes us what from one another? If we're diverse from one another, we're what?
Different.
Absolutely, we're different. It's a condition of being different. It's differences, period. So no two people are exactly alike. We all come packaged differently. It could be our age. It could be our social or economic status. It could be the color of our skin. It could be where we were born. Our abilities, or in some cases, our challenges, physical and mental. Could be our size. So if I lined up all white males on this side of the wall, 20 to 25 years old, no two of them would exactly be alike. Or if I lined up all Latino women on this side of the room, 45 to 50, no two of them would be exactly alike. You get the picture? Diversity, it's about you, it's about you, it's about you, it's about me. Diversity is about all of us. So with that, we're going to do a little exercise. I'm going to have you pair up. So you two will pair, you two, you two, you two, you two, and you two. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to see how many differences you can find that you have with that person who's sitting next to you. And you don't need to write it down, but just keep tally. You know, when you find a difference, okay, that's one. Find another one, tally another one. See if you can get the most differences than anybody else in this class. Any questions? Is that clear? All right, go. Go ahead.
I start out with maybe hobbies.
I golf.
How long have you been working?
My car's white.
Start out with.
Time's up. Tally up how many differences you had. Now, how many of you had more than 5 differences? Raise your hand. More than 10? 15? Wow, 20? Woo, 25. 30. Okay, how many do you have?
26.
How many do you have?
22.
All right, 26.
Tied.
Okay, so what was the activity that was going on in the room here?
Discovery.
Getting to know each other.
Discovery, yeah.
And just physically, you were talking. You were just talking to one another. You were in front of somebody and talking to them and asking them questions about themselves. So there was interaction. As you said, there was discovery. We were getting to know one another. So I always like to say, where are you standing when you're talking with someone? Are you standing in a place of openness? Wow, I just want to get to know about you. Or are you standing in, judgment, like, do you really believe everything your church teaches? And what's that you're eating for lunch? And what were you thinking when you said that at the meeting? You know when people are judging you. Think about this. I'm going to put a curse on you. Today, notice when you're interacting with people, are you judging them? Or are you generally wanting to know about them? Wanting to ask, hey, what's going on? So what happened, most likely, all of you are in a place of openness, because all I did was create a game. Let's just play this fun game. Let's see how many differences you can find. And I saw people laughing and really having a good time. Now think about this. How many times do you go grab somebody who looks a little bit different than you and go, hey, let's go on a break and talk about our differences? No. We like to be people that we have the sameness, that they know our jokes. I can say whatever. I don't have to walk on eggshells. I don't have to worry about, saying something that will offend them. And so we tend to avoid that. But what happened here, I created a game where you're all just standing in a place of openness. So notice during the day, notice when you're about to say something, am I saying that to kind of judge them, or am I saying that because I genuinely would like to know? I want to hear from them what they have to say. Okay, I did this at a junior high school, and in their case, I told them to sit by somebody who looked very different from them that they didn't know, and then I said, find out all the things that you have in common. So it makes it a little bit more difficult. Usually when you do this, you'll find maybe 5 or 10 things in common. It doesn't go as high as 20, 30. And it's a little more difficult. So when we're all done, I said, okay, raise your hand if you had 5, 7, because I know it's going to just be around 10. And then there was a young boy and girl kept their hand up. I says, Raise your hand if you had 15, 20, 30, and they kept their hand up. And I says, okay, how many things in common did you have? And the boy goes, 212. All the kids went, oh, you cheated. You didn't really have that many. And he goes, yeah, I did. I love this kid. I think he was brilliant. He goes, I was real laid back. I was just in my biology class, and the body has 200 bones. He says, and then we both get up every morning. We both go to bed every night. We eat food. We go to school. And he just went right to the common denominator. But what do we usually do? Somebody walks into the door, even though we have so many things that we have in common, somebody walks in the door, we'll find that one thing that we don't have in common with them, and that's what we'll focus on, rather than the so many other different things that we do have in common. All right, I'm going to do the uh-oh. And for a couple of you, you've been in my class before. I hope you'll experience it again. Uh-oh, when you walk into a situation, you walk into a room and you go, uh-oh. Doesn't quite fit your picture, does it? It's like, this isn't going to turn out right. This doesn't look right. So I'm going to give you a couple stories of the uh-oh experience. One, it was a gentleman who had to fly commercially for his job, and he hated to fly. He was so worried he was going to crash. But every time he'd get on the plane, he'd look in the cockpit and he'd see a white, middle-aged male get on the plane, land safely. Get on the plane again, white, middle-aged male, get on the plane, land safely. Get on the plane, white, middle-aged male, land safely every time. He gets on the plane this one time and he looks in the cockpit and he goes, uh-oh. What do you think he saw this time?
Female.
Saw a female,
Young.
person of color, young, and I think for some of us that are older, like you think, well, does he even have his driver's license and he's flying that plane? Or someone who's older and you're thinking, I think they should have retired by now. It didn't fit his picture. Did he land safely? Of course. The reason being the person who was flying the plane was qualified to fly the plane. You don't have to be white, you don't have to be middle-aged, you don't have to be a certain male or female. And it could go reverse. You don't have to be a female, you don't have to be a person of color. You need to be qualified to fly the plane. But notice how we do that. We're going, oh, that doesn't fit my picture. Then this next story I love to tell because this is he teaches mechanics here at the county. And I had told this one story, and he raised his hand. He goes, well, I've got an uh-oh experience. I want to share with everybody. I said, sure, tell us. He says, well, I teach mechanics, and it was the first night of my class. And in walks a student. He has tattoos all over his face, all over his arms. He says, and I went, uh-oh. Now, how many of you in this class either have a tattoo or you know someone who has a tattoo and you'd work side by side? I know I do. Okay, so most everybody in here has a good reference point. He didn't. The night before this class, he'd seen on the news someone who looked just like that being arrested for murder. So that was his experience, and that's why he went, uh-oh. Then I love this story because it's his story. He goes, you know what? He said, he turned out to be the nicest young man I'd ever met and one of the best students I ever had. So think back on a time when maybe a new employee comes in the door and you're thinking, uh-oh, this isn't going to work. And they turn out to be really, really great and probably a good friend of yours. Or think of a social event where you're including somebody new and you're thinking, uh-oh, this isn't going to be fun. And they turn out to be totally opposite. We all sort of do that, uh-oh. Now this next thing I'm going to do, it's a lot of fun. We're going to say the word top, T-O-P. We're going to say it out loud 10 times. Now the fun of it is when I'm all done, I'm going to throw out a question to you. Please just answer the first thing that comes to your mind. Don't worry if it's right or wrong. And for those of you who've done this before, I'm counting on you to lead the way. So we're going to say top 10 times out loud. I'm going to throw out a question, answer, yell out the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay, ready? Okay, here we go. Top, 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 top. What do you do at a green light?
Stop. Go.
Okay, what do you do at a green light?
I say go.
Okay, why did some of you say stop? Any ideas?
The echo.
Huh?
The echo behind me.
You heard her say it?
Was louder than mine.
It rhymed with what we just said.
It did. The brain went to the closest thing it could identify. I brainwashed you, I tricked you. And that's what happens is all it knew was, top, 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 and then it says signal, and it went to the closest thing it knew, stop. Isn't that interesting how the brain does that? So think about that when somebody walks in the door and you go, oh, I know who they are. My parents have told me all about those people. And you quickly go there. not even giving it a chance to talk and find out who they are. Or maybe you've seen it in the movies. Oh, I know what they're like. I've seen it in the movies, you know. Or maybe you've had 1 or 2 incidences with somebody that look like that, and you think you know who they are, and you have no idea who they are.